Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'd like
Good
to
morning.
call to order the September 24th meeting of the Nsdp. First order of business is for us to approve the minutes of our May meeting. Hopefully you all had a moment to review those minutes. When you are ready, I would like to entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Erica Wicks.
Okay, Erica, thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Bob Leakey.
Okay, Bob, thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the meeting minutes of our May meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, great. The minutes have been accepted. And Alex, I will leave it up to you to carry us forth.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. So if you'll give me 1 second, I am going to share my screen and take us through our first discussion item for the day. So hopefully everybody is seeing now summer 2021 project status update. All right, great.
Yep.
So I mostly just kind of want to walk you through a look ahead of what you can expect as we start ramping up on what is our final year of Operation Fix It. And it's a little hard to believe that I'm actually saying those words. So I'm going to just kind of walk you through those projects of what you can expect to see over the next about 6 months. So our roofing upgrades are essentially complete with one exception. At our Centennial High School, we did a fairly modest roof replacement 2 years ago. And as we have completed our HVAC project, what we're finding is that while we knew the condition of that roof was marginal, the additional foot traffic we've put on that roof as part of the HVAC project has really exposed the weaknesses in that roof and it being at the end of its useful life. So we are preparing to do a more comprehensive roof replacement on that building that we should have ready to bid here in the next month or so. And we would plan to award that project early next year. On our HVAC projects, right now we have 3 phases of work that are currently in the proposal phase. So these will all be design build projects, phase 8, 9, and 10. So phase 8 includes HVAC as well as electrical upgrades for our Whetstone High School, as well as our Columbus Gifted Academy at the former Everett Middle School. The estimated value for those projects is between $6.5 and $7.4 million. That's in total between those two different sites. And I believe we are expecting our GMP, our guaranteed maximum price proposals, to come in next week. We'll be interviewing shortly after that. So right now we are anticipating having technical oversight and Nsdp review of those contracts in the month of October. And then we'd be bringing those to the Board of Education in November for their approval. HVAC phase 9 is about a month behind it. This project will include electrical as well as those HVAC upgrades for Eastmore Academy, as well as the Columbus City Preparatory School for Boys. The estimated value of those 2 projects is between $5.7 and $6.2 million. And we anticipate bringing those projects through to technical oversight and Nsdp in the month of December. So you'll remember in the month of November with Thanksgiving, our timing gets a little bit off with the Thanksgiving holiday. So rather than being on that 4th Thursday, we're actually, I believe, on the 2nd Thursday in December. And then bringing that through to the Board of Education. And I apologize, I got the incorrect date there, but it would be the 2nd board meeting in December. So we'd still be awarding that project here at the very tail end of this year. I believe that date should be the 15th. And then our final HVAC phase would be phase 10. And this includes HVAC upgrades as well as those electrical infrastructure improvements at Buckeye Middle School, East Haven, Northtown, and Parkmore Elementary Schools. The total estimated value for those 4 projects is between $3.5 million and $4.1 million. And right now we would anticipate bringing those through for technical oversight and Nsdp review in the month of January, with board approval in the first meeting of February of 2021. Our safety and security upgrades are right now planned for 18 buildings to wrap up that package of work. Right now, we are anticipating breaking that into 3 packages. This past year, we did it in 4 packages. And right now, we're still reviewing those projects internally to make sure that we have a good handle on what we think are viable solutions for those projects. One of the things we are considering, and I think I've mentioned that before, is that we probably do have a handful of buildings where architecture is not going to be a good solution given the configuration of those buildings. So we probably will have some sites where we're looking at an alternative solution for security in those buildings. Right now, we'd be looking to bid those projects at the tail end of this year, so sometime between December and February, and then bringing those through for board approval, just kind of cycling behind sometime between the months of January and March. Our fire alarm upgrades are also nearing completion. So we actually have 2 contracts. They fall below the threshold of what requires technical and Nsdp oversight. So those contracts are going straight to the board this coming Tuesday. Those are contracts for a fire alarm upgrade for the Columbus Gifted Academy, as well as the Columbus City Preparatory School for Boys. And you see the 2 values for those projects at $195,000 for the Gifted Academy and $113,000 for the Boys Middle School. Our final 2 fire alarm projects are for Buckeye Middle School, and we anticipate bidding that one here very shortly and then bringing it to the Board of Education in December. And then our final fire alarm project will be for Mifflin Middle School. And again, we anticipate bidding either late in October or sometime in early November. And that one would likely go to the Board of Education for approval either late in December or early in January of 2021. We're also working on our final package of plumbing upgrades. So these are really those focused on those student restroom upgrades. We have a total of 19 sites that we need to address for summer of 2021. And right now we are focusing that on 3 individual packages that would bid separately. We've been working on architect selections. So we have already identified those architects. We will be negotiating those contracts and bringing those through for board approval here over the next 1 to 2 months. And right now we anticipate having a staggered bid on those 3 packages between December and January, and then bringing those through for Board of Education approval between January and February of 2021. And we know from our experience, these packages will be small enough that they likely will not come before Nsdp or technical oversight for review. And then our asphalt upgrades are remaining for 11 of those legacy sites. And our plan at this point is to continue our indefinite quantity delivery method. We'll most likely work on that contract to have it ready to bid at the very first of the year. That seems to be when we get the best level of interest and when contractors are most interested in kind of filling their book for the year, if you will, with contracts. So if we bid that in January, we would plan on bringing it to the Board of Education. This one would likely require Nsdp oversight. So just depending on the timing, either in February or March of 2021. And then the final upgrade we have as part of Operation Fix-It is our lighting upgrades. And so this year we have a total of 16 sites where we need to make those lighting upgrades as part of Operation Fix-It. We will continue our focus, which has largely been on relamping existing fixtures with LED lamps so that we get better light output, but we also reduce our operating costs and increase our efficiency. We'll be working on assessing the total needs of where we need to relamp through the months of October through December, and we will have that ready to bid early in 2021. And again, depending on the total value of that contract and whether it requires oversight, it would likely go to the board either in February or March. And so we should be well positioned to have all these projects ready for summer construction for summer of 2021. So again, just kind of wanted to give you that look ahead of what to expect. So next month, you should expect to see the design build contract recommendation for HVAC Phase 8. And that'll obviously be a very major contract for us. And then from a presentation standpoint, Our intention is to bring through an overall budget recap, just so you can kind of see how we are tracking against our total budgets across all of the projects. I know we kind of talked about that, I think, back in the spring, about making sure that everybody understands where we are budget-wise as we're preparing to wrap up these projects. And I know Brandy has been working very hard with one of our consultants on the LEDE reporting, and we should be able to present an LEDE recap. And unless you prefer to see it differently, I think our intention will be to show it to you by fiscal year since the beginning of Operation Fix It. So we should have an FY 17, 18, and 19 recap, but we will not try to show you anything looking past July of 2020, but we would be able to report that out next year when we've completed our current fiscal year. And otherwise, I just have, if you have any questions for me or any comments about anything I presented or anything that you would like to see us present as part of either next month's meeting or upcoming meetings.
Thanks, Alex. You guys have any questions or comments for Alex? Alex, I guess I have one, and I do appreciate the overview in terms of what we can expect and really what your workload has been. We might have talked about this before, but I just don't recall. Discussions of COVID-19 are so prevalent, and the impact of COVID has really dominated a lot of conversation. Has it changed anything at all about in terms of the way you guys do business or getting business done or scheduling in any way whatsoever?
So that's a great question. So I would say probably the number one thing it has done is pushed us to get our projects ready to go out to bid even sooner than we were last year. I think the contracting community would agree, which is just the sooner you can have contracts in hand, the better. We've obviously seen some issues with workforce challenges, but I would say more than anything, we've been experiencing issues with supply chain issues. We've had multiple materials that have shown up late to sites, and we've either had to adjust very quickly or make some adjustments on those projects to be able to make sure we can get them open, even if work's not completely complete. But those would be the two biggest things. I mean, just being prepared to be as flexible and nimble as we can, lots of constant and honest communication, which I know is not always the easiest thing to do, even though it sounds like it. And just the sooner we can have projects ready to go, both for our design teams to make sure they're not experiencing any workforce issues, and then the same with the contractors. But it is a good opportunity to ask. I know there are others in the room, our virtual room, who have similar roles. I don't know if anybody's hearing anything different.
Well, I would say because we're doing residential development, a couple of things we've noticed: lack of materials. Actually, it's stunning. A lot of our contractors have to go out of town or out of state to get materials, and then the cost of materials, and that's changed our numbers quite a bit. And we're just not talking single digit. We're talking at least 12 to 15% on each project. And I think that's going to get worse. And given the type of, I guess, sector we're in, trying to create affordable housing, when the cost keeps going up, it becomes a challenge in terms of how to do that, from timing and ultimately the cost. And we're just one of many in that industry sector. So it hasn't really affected the workforce. Folks are available and ready to go, but it's just the cost and supply of materials.
And Curtis, we're seeing that in lumber, especially in most of our commercial projects. We're not using lumber. Most of those are either metal studs, but we know, and especially what you're facing with the residential, I mean, the lumber's a big one, and we're seeing 14 to 20% increases in really lumber for the most part, and some adjustments in steel, but for the most part, overall, some of the public projects we're working on, the bidding environment has been good for those who are in the bid process. So we're seeing anywhere from 15 to 20% reductions from estimates but a little readjustment in some of the materials that you talked about. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Jim, any discussion about the long-term impact, if any?
On construction, just on the construction side.
The construction side, and it's hard to forecast. It's obviously COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've talked about, and especially to our clients where we are either wrapping up design and getting ready to bid, this is actually a really good time for them to be in the market. And we think that's probably going to last through a good part of 2021. The challenge will be, we expect it to be more like what you would see after, I'll say, a natural disaster. And we experience this when we're working in Florida after a hurricane. So where you may have normal construction escalation that prior to COVID was running about 4% a year here. After we experience a hurricane or something else, those numbers or that escalation jumps to 7 to 8% because of availability of materials and labor. So when projects restart, there's going to be a great demand on folks trying to jump into the marketplace. And so we think then you're going to get an artificial, I'll call it AFib in the market, where you're going to get an artificial jump pretty high that will probably last a good year or so, and then a resettling down probably sometime in 2022 of normal construction impacts. But we'll see. I mean, it's still all a guess. Still all a guess.
Yeah, well, appreciate your comments, Jim, Alex. Anyone else have any comments? Okay, thanks, Alex. With that, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, 3.02, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, give me 1 second to navigate. I think this is our upcoming calendar, so I'm going to share my screen again, just so you don't have to navigate to your own. Well, give me 1 more second here. So I don't think you'll see any surprises in the recommended calendar for next year. So as typical, it is the 4th Thursday for each month, with the exception being the months of November and December, where again, to make that adjustment for the Thanksgiving holiday, it is the 2nd Thursday in December that we're proposing for this year. I don't know if there are any questions or concerns on this.
Guys have any questions or concerns about the proposed calendar?
You know, unless things change, we would, same thing, we would assume that we're going to continue virtually for the upcoming year. And obviously at some point we may be able to switch back to either an in-person or a blended model, and time will tell the story on that one.
Alex, do you need a motion to accept the proposed calendar? Cheryl, do we need a motion to accept the calendar, or just kind of let it go until?
Yes, we do need a motion to approve the calendar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Curtis, I motion to approve the calendar by Anthony Jones.
Anthony is a move to approve the calendar. Is there a second?
Second, Bob Lichty.
Okay, great. Move to second it. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Opposed, same sign. Okay, calendar has been accepted. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next item, 4.01. Alex.
Yes, so this takes us to our one action item for the day, and I am going to turn it over here shortly to my project manager, Lori Seeger, to explain the details for this. But I know that last week this was also reviewed with the Technical Oversight Subcommittee. At that point, Lori, if you'll go ahead and take over, that would be great.
Let me share the screen. My question is, can you see it? That doesn't-
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is actually a deduct change order for our Moeller roof project, which we installed last year. We're wrapping everything up. It is a deduct change order in the amount of $30,000, $740.11. The details are that we had a alternate on our bid to tuck point a wall of $72,000, and we took the alternate, and then as we got into construction, we realized the wall wasn't as bad as we thought it was and eliminated that work. We also got a deduct for concrete. They damaged the sidewalk, and the estimated value of that repair was $3,291. And it turns out that Buildings and Grounds had a project going in at the same time to repair the sidewalks, so we got a credit for the value of that work. We do have an add on this of $44,550.89 for an extra layer of roofing. The roof cores were wrong, and they had a significant amount of extra tear off to do. And that would be the value of it. So this gives us a total deduct of $30,000, $740.11. This is our legislation for the board. And it's just a deduct to BK Contracting so we can finish out their contract. Does anybody have questions?
Thanks, Lori. Appreciate it much. Seeing that there's no questions, is there a motion to approve the project 17041?
Jeff Mormon, I move.
Jeff moved. Second.
Second, Patrick Herrick.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's been moved and seconded to approve project 17041. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you much. Your project's been approved. Like to see those kind of projects.
Yeah.
Good thing. Good thing. Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Looking at the agenda, we don't have any community inclusion report. Next item is President Adair from the board of it. From the board, is she available? Looks not. Mr. Brown, sir, how are you?
And good morning, Curtis. Good morning to all of you.
Good to see you.
No, I don't see Jennifer or any other board members this morning, but our openings, now well underway, and things are going pretty well. Issues arise, fair number of issues, various types. Many of those pertaining to students, and probably more than that from parents about students. But they seem to be getting addressed quickly, and solutions are found, and people are being creative. The board itself, we're continuing to work virtually, and that'll continue for the foreseeable future, I think. Nobody's even ready to talk about a change back to in-person meetings. But that's really been the big thing is making this work. I think that we're still watching very closely on COVID-19 reports and the counts, and anticipate that perhaps at the end of October, we'll be able to switch to a hybrid system. But I think that, judgment's reserved. That's the soonest that we would make that kind of change. And I don't have anything else. If anybody has questions about any board related matters, I'd be happy to try to speak to it.
Well, I certainly, I don't have any questions, but I certainly appreciate what you all are trying to do, given the circumstances we're under. It's got to be challenging.
Yes, that's a good word for it. And it's not what anybody on the board necessarily signed up for, but every decision is being made, with our students in mind, and trying to do the best we can to provide for their education, but also always keeping in mind safety and health. Those are paramount. And I think that at least so far, we've balanced those as well as we can, make the best decisions with all the information available. Certainly want to thank all of you for the work that you're helping us do. Really appreciate your service, and that of so many others who are stepping up and helping us, especially during these times. So thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it much. Anyone from the superintendent's office on a call would like to make a comment or two? Okay.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Would say echo what Board Member Brown stated, but to say to the group, thank you for the work that you're doing and continue to do for us. And we understand, as we stated, this is very ever-changing times, and we have to be nimble with that. And we appreciate your flexibility, being on these virtual calls, but also providing your expertise in the work that we're doing moving forward as an operations team, but also as an organization. And I wanted to say thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Odom. We certainly appreciate it. And again, I can't speak for everyone, but me coming to a meeting for an hour every other month is not a big deal compared to what you guys are dealing with.
Yep.
And the ever-changing environment and trying to protect yourselves, protect your kids and their families. I got to tell you, I don't envy you. And but whatever you guys doing, keep on doing it. It's all good, and we certainly appreciate it. Alex, do we have any old business or new business or anything else that we want to discuss?
I certainly don't have anything for the group. I would just say, obviously, we've been a little quiet through the summer, and I think that just kind of demonstrates the very cyclical nature of our work and us being hunkered down trying to get projects finished. But as you saw from the look ahead, it's going to be a busy fall and winter as we prepare for next summer's project. So we're pretty excited.
Okay, awesome. Keep it up. Keep it up. Seeing that there's no other business, and before I entertain a motion to adjourn, I ask that you guys take care of yourselves, be safe, and always look forward to seeing you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, and a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, don't need to vote on that. I think we're done, guys. Please.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.